Welcome back to the Irish Bandit channel, or if you're new here, welcome to the channel. I, as always, am your host, the one, the only, the second Irish Bandit. We are closing in on the end of Sun's September. Now, we're talking about the final season today, but this isn't the final episode for Sun's September. That'll be coming on Thursday, and I'll tell you more about that at the end of this episode. But we're talking about the final season today on the channel, and what a season it was to end everything off. It all kind of ended off, I think, the way it was supposed to, the way it should have, but we'll talk more about that as we talk more about the season. So again, like every other video this month in Sun September, we're going to be going from the Sons of Anarchy official collector's edition book, talking about every season, and we're just going to jump right into it with my fifth favorite episode of season 7. Let me just check my notes here. Yes, my fifth favorite episode, Suits of Woe. Juice confesses everything to a devastated Jax. Gemma says goodbye to her grandsons and to Nero before leaving Charming. This just kind of culminated with everything that happened in the following episode, which we'll touch on later. I'm not going to tell you when, because, well, you'll find out where that episode comes in. But everything up until this point, because after what happened at the end of season 6, when Gemma killed Tara, Jax didn't know what happened. All he saw was the dead body, and he was fed this story of how it was members of the Lynn Triad who murdered Tara out of revenge or something. So they kept feeding him the story. And then finally, during, I think it was the episode previous to this one, where Jax was putting Abel to bed. Abel had heard Gemma confess what she did to Thomas. And Abel said something along the lines of, well, is that why Grandma killed Mommy? The look on Jax's face was devastating when he heard this. So up until this point, he didn't know what was going on. He finally got the truth from Juice, who is in prison at this point. And you can just see Jax's whole world just come undone when he hears the truth of what happened to Tara. Gemma says, like it says goodbye to the boys. Abel is in preschool at this point and she gives him Jax's first ring that he had within the group. Then she says goodbye to Nero. They had a love affair going on since her and Clay were done. Excuse me. But yeah, this was just a fantastic episode of the season and of the series as well in a whole. But well done acting by everybody involved, especially Katie Seagal. I didn't talk too much about that, but she did such a fantastic job this entire series. Not just this season, but this entire series. Coming in at number 4. Oh. Coming in at number 4 is the series finale, Papa's Goods. Jax makes good on many of the wrongs he inflicted on his club and family. Sam Crow honors Jax's request before he rides to his ultimate destiny. What a finale this was. A phenomenal job done by Charlie Hunnam during this entire episode, because it mainly just focuses on Jax and everything he needs to do to tie up loose ends before everything that happens in the final act of this episode. It was so harrowing and so well done, but we'll talk about everything that happened beforehand, because he has this one line that he has with Tyne Patterson at her office. She's asking him, well, she basically gets a deposition from him about what happened to Tara, because she's been trying to solve her murder, and then he just tells her everything that he was told, that Gemma murdered Tara in an act of rage, and that Juice helped hide the evidence and hide the murder and killed Eli Roosevelt, the former sheriff. So you have all that, and Jack says something along the lines, Patterson, of something about happening at the end of the day, and Patterson goes, what happens at the end of the day? the bad guys lose. And then Jax just goes on this entire spree, taking out August Marks for the murder of Bobby. Didn't talk about that, but we'll get into that a little bit later on as well. The Bobby's murder. He takes out Bronski, the crooked cop, Port Authority cop. I think it was Port Authority cop, but the crooked cop who runs a bakery. Takes him out for. I think it was he gave information to the Triad. Yeah, because I'm thinking back, Juice was getting information for him, for Jax, about who was the mole, who was giving them information, and Lynn told him that it was Bronski. So takes him out and then has a conversation with his father on the same highway that John Teller's life ended. And Jax's end was as poetic as it could be, sins of the father type of thing. But Papa's Goods is one of those excellently well done final episodes. There's like one thing, and it's not even like anything writing, acting, anything like that. It was just really poor special effects that kind of did it for me for this one, because when I first watched the episode, I was watching like this, crying the whole time. But then when I actually sat down and watched it, I saw how bad the effects were at the end. But other than that, it was a fantastic episode. Everybody did a fantastic job. I especially love when the club takes Jax for his Mr. Mayhem thing, and it just turned out to be a big ruse for the other charters, where they tell him, "Oh yeah, Jax met Mr. Mayhem," and they're like, "Nah, we can't do that to Jax." And Jax's final line to the club of "I got this" just hits you right here, because that's what Opie said in his final episode. So Papa's Good, excellent, excellent finale. Coming in at number 3 is a great episode with a great rendition of a song sung by Katie Segal. One thing I didn't talk about, Katie Segal sang a few songs in this series, and she has a song at the end of this episode, same title as the episode name. Coming in at number 3, Greensleeves. Jack secures the support of the Mayans and Niners against Marks, but Bobby is taken. Juice goes on a suicide mission for redemption, and Gemma admits her guilt to Thomas. So yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier when I was talking about Gemma admitting what she did to Thomas, Jax's youngest son, and Abel over here. Abel is having just a horrible time with everything since Tara passed away. He's having a bad time in school. He attacked a kid with a fork. That's not good. And I haven't mentioned the guest stars in this series either, but Courtney Love stars as a kindergarten teacher. Okay, she did a great job when I heard about it. And Marilyn Manson plays an Aryan Brotherhood shock collar. But Courtney Love did a fantastic job in the roles that she had as the Abel's kindergarten teacher. But yeah, great moment with Gemma when she's admitting everything to Thomas and Abel hears this. And then, again, this whole arc that Juice goes on leads him to going to prison after this suicide mission, they call it in the book. Just so emotional, so well done. I loved almost everything that they did with Juice in the final season, but we'll talk about that in the next entry, because coming in at number 2 is the penultimate episode of the series. That being, I think it is. No, sorry. That's not. It's not. Sorry. But yeah, everything that I'll talk about that one later. But yeah, this episode was just heartbreaking for all the wrong reasons. And I even said after watching this episode, I needed ice cream and a bottle of Jack Daniels after watching this episode. Coming in at number 2, my second favorite episode of season 7, What a Piece of Work Is Man. Marks proves a point with a vicious attack on Bobby, while the SOA charters demand a vote. The truth about the man Gemma falsely accused of killing Tara comes to light. So, yeah, what had happened is, I think it was an episode previous. Jax accused Jury, the president of the Indian Hills chapter, which we saw patched in back in season 1. He accused him of being a rat. And that's a serious accusation in the MC world. So, with no provocation whatsoever, Jax just out and out murders Jury. And when it's proven he's not a rat, something needs to be done. You don't do that. You do not kill a member of the club in cold blood. And that's exactly what Jax did with Jury. Other than that, you also had everything going on with Bobby at this point because he was kidnapped by Marx's men, beaten savagely. And then at the end of this episode, he was murdered right in front of everybody, right in front of the entire Sam Crow. It was a heartbreaking moment. Like I said, I was so devastated after that episode because I loved Bobby. He was one of my favorite characters, and to see him come to an end like this was just devastating for me as a fan. I didn't know if I could go on, and there were still like 4 episodes left after this happened. And I was just like, oh, I don't know if I can go on, but I went on, I continued on, and I loved the rest of the season. But after this moment, it was just like, oh, so heartbreaking. But that leads me to my favorite episode of this season. It was just a well done episode. Everything coming full circle at the end of this one, because this would be the penultimate episode of the series before Papa's Goods. But I felt this, hands down, was the best episode of the season. My favorite episode of season 7 of the final season of Sons of Anarchy, Red Rose. Jax reveals Gemma's lie to Unser. Juice decides how to go out, and Jax finally confronts Gemma at her father's home. What an amazing episode this was, because you had everything going on. Jax telling Unser what happened to Tara, because he was on the case the whole time. Like, he may have been retired as a cop, but he was trying to figure out what happened to Tara as well. Then you have everything going on with Juice, and that just iconic, let me finish my pie, before he met his end at the hands of Marilyn Manson's character. And then you have the ending of this episode where everything just catches up to Gemma. All her lies, everything that she's done throughout the past season. It all culminates in her family home. We met her father in season 3 when she was on the run, and she went to his house. I think we even saw him again in this season as well. She was just saying goodbye to him at his care home. So she's in the house. Unser finds her, goes to bring her in, but then Jax finds them both. Now, for the longest time, I figured Unser was going to meet his end at the cancer that we established he had back in season 1. That's not what happened to him. The cancer didn't take him out. It was Jax that took him out. And that was shocking in its own right. I didn't think anything like that would happen to Unser. Again, another one of my favorite characters to die at the hands of one of my favorite characters, but I mean, that's what happens. And then the exchange between Gemma and Jax at the end of this episode. Gemma knew everything was catching up to her. She knew that her end was coming thanks to her own son. And you can see the pain on Jax's face when he was pointing the gun at the back of her head. And it was just heart-wrenching moment. But everything in it was just so well done. The cinematography, the acting, the look of the episode, everything was just fantastic. The dialogue. This is why Rose Red is my favorite episode of season 7. What was your favorite episode of the final season? Let me know in the comment section down below. I'd really love to read your thoughts on this one. While you're down there, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up. I'd really appreciate that. In the description, you're going to see all the ways you can help support this channel. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, Reddit, and now Threads. You can get your Irish Bandit merchandise from my Irish Bandit shop on redbubble.com. You can pick up your copy of my novel Shade Falling on Amazon. You can get that through either Kindle e-reader or on paperback. and you can buy me a coffee, where right now I have a goal set up where I want to get some Elgato gear for my PC. You can help make that happen in the link down below. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. If you're already subscribed, tap the bell and you'll be notified whenever a brand new video goes live. Tomorrow, we are starting in on Death Stranding. This will be the first time I'm playing it, but you're going to watch me play it from the very beginning. It's starring Norman Reedus from Boondock Saints and The Walking Dead, so you can join me for that. And then on Thursday, we finish up Sun September as I talk about my 5 all-time favorite episodes of Sons of Anarchy from season 1 through 7. I can guarantee you that some of the episodes that I talked about today are going to be on that list, but we're going through 35 episodes that I counted down from all 7 seasons, and I'm going to tell you my 5 overall favorites on Thursday. And then Friday, it's right back here with more Final Fantasy VII on Friday Fantasy. So until tomorrow in the beginning of Death Stranding, I want to say Bioshock, but no, we're done that. Until tomorrow in the beginning of Death Stranding, I'll talk to you then.